Hello, this is Lisa and this is my channel Summon Art. So this is the second part of the profile picture series, but this is showing the digital part of the process. So I hope you will all enjoy the video. Now I want to start off by saying I've never actually used this program before. It's called Affinity Designer. I was previously going to use Photoshop, Illustrator for this video, but my free trial ran out, so I decided to look for an alternative, and this is what I found. And here you can just see me looking around like a headless chicken trying to find this, basically trying to see where the alternatives are for saving or exporting the file, and I found it now, which is a bit of a relief. So I can change it to whatever I want in here. It's a PDF to TIFF to GIF to all the options. I've got quite a few different things we can change it to in here. So I started off really not knowing anything about this program or how to use it, so I did have a few hiccups and kind of trying to figure out how things work. But here you can see I'm using the paintbrush tool and I'm trying to draw sort of the outline for my head and shoulders, and not really doing a very good job of it, so I keep deleting it. And then I figured out, oh wait a minute, I can actually bring in my JPEG file and enlarge it and then basically trace over that, which is what I am doing at the moment, which is so much easier. Kind of just flying through this in comparison to what I was doing before. Because I mean, it means that the scale of things is a lot closer to what I need it to be as well. So then I'm just sort of zooming in and now trying to figure out actually how you erase sort of your points here. I've kind of gone into a selection mode, which allows you to select each individual point and move it around in order to neaten up my slightly messy line work. So I've just copy pasted that over, so I don't have to do it again for the other side. So I've got my brim of my hat here. So then, I've just kind of gone into working out how to actually delete the node to make it so I don't have to sort of fiddle around with these too much. And you see I have figured out how to do it, and it is pretty simple. You just use the erase or backspace key after selecting the node using the white arrow cursor. You see I'm going a bit crazy and deleting all of the nodes. This is obviously sped up. I did not want to bore you with the full-length version of this because you would have been here for hours, literally. Now, another little hiccup. I was trying to figure out how to join the nodes together and not having a lot of luck, but then I did figure it out, and it is actually, you use, that point I was just on, which kind of says to join curves. So basically you go to action and you go to join curve, and that allows you to join the nodes together, which was really quite helpful for me to just link all my shapes up and close them up so I'm able to use fill on them later. Now I wanted to use a program like this so that I can make a vector file of my profile picture, which means that I can resize it to any size that I want, which is just useful if you want to either shrink it or just make it a lot bigger, and then it won't get all pixelated, you won't lose any quality. which is why it's really useful to be able to use a program like this. But I was quite impressed, to be honest, at how easy this was to pick up. I was quite worried about using this, having never actually gone into it before, but okay, you're seeing a sped up version of what I was doing, but I didn't get stuck very often, which was amazing, really, because I was expecting to. So here I'm just smoothing out all of my lines, because you can see they're a bit jagged and wonky where I used my graphics tablet to sort of draw them in. So that's the other thing with this, you can actually manually go in and fix all of your wonky lines and make sure your curves look nice, and oh my goodness, it is so much easier. It is, although for anybody that's kind of really nitpicky, it could make you spend absolutely ages doing this. I mean, I did it for a while, so just, yeah, take it as your decision as to whether you think that means I'm nitpicky or not. I mean, it was probably about, I don't know, about 6 hours worth of footage this originally was. So yeah, you can see here again, I'm just going to my line work and sort of getting rid of some of the extra nodes that I don't need, that are making the lines a bit jagged, and kind of getting everything to the right sort of shape, so I'm happy with it, and so I'm happy with the positioning. Yeah, I mean, after I was working on this for a while, my fiance had a look at it and apparently felt that my smile looked wrong, so I ended up having to fix that a bit later. And apparently that Tyson's eyes looked evil, which after having spent a while doing this, I was not overly happy to hear, but it does kind of, that sort of feedback is useful in its way, so that I can like work out what things need to be changed. And here I actually put in the grid to see if the eyes were level and sort of move things about a bit so that my shapes and everything aren't wonky, so that one eye's higher than the other and that sort of thing. Now I'm just fiddling around with Tyson's line work and trying to close up some of the lines so I'll be able to fill them. Yeah, I'm just sort of retreating some bits of line work so that it doesn't overlap. I'm trying to make the fur look a bit more natural there, and I was trying to join some of the lines together, but it was making a weird loop, which I didn't really want. Oh, and copy and paste was really so much my friend during this. I copy pasted like mad. It just made things so much easier. And then to sort of just reflect it so that, yeah, like I did just there, just so that it kind of looked about the same. And then obviously I could edit it a little bit to make sure it didn't look exactly the same, so it ends up looking a bit unnatural. And I'm also changing the colour of the line work here, just so it's not completely black, especially on Tyson's markings. So I think that just looks better, makes them look a bit more subtle. And just turning all of that around there for the direction for the fur. And just fiddling around with the outline of the circle there. I'm kind of just looking at a picture of Tyson and just trying to work out what the best colours would be to use for him. I'm usually reasonably good at sort of eyeing that type of thing up, but sometimes it can kind of, sometimes I'm not always quite right, but I'm used to doing it for traditional artwork and for drawings and paintings, so obviously I don't tend to have the option to just colour pick, so I tend to try and do it myself. But you can see as I copy pasted again to get like the right shape for the pupil and everything, and to get the same colour in there. And as soon as the eyes come in, there's just so much more life in anything, whether it's a piece of artwork or whether it's sort of an avatar like this. You can see where I've not closed up some lines there, and I've tried to fill it, and it's kind of just filled in loads of stuff that I didn't want it to, which, yeah, you kind of have to make sure you close up your line work, otherwise that does happen. And you get colour where you really don't want it. That was also a bit different for me because I'm not really used to working like that, as I have previously done artwork in Photoshop, where that sort of thing is not really necessary because you do it more like an actual piece of traditional art where you've got sort of brush strokes and everything, and you can't necessarily manipulate all the lines like this. I guess you can if you use the pen tool in Photoshop, but it's not as meant for this type of thing as like an actual vector program is. See, I fiddled around with the pupils a bit here, trying to make them bigger and make the eyes bigger to make him sort of look cuter and more appealing. I mean, Tyson has very big eyes anyway, which are absolutely lovely to look at. So I wanted to capture that in this little sort of picture of him, from what you can see of his face anyway. Because he has just such a sweet look about him. He just looks so cute. He's kind of got bigger eyes than I feel I've seen on most cats, and very striking markings. It's like one of the things that we really loved about him when we saw him first at Cats Protection. And also the fact that he kind of stood up on his hind legs and headbutting by hand, and that was just it. It was just, yeah, we had to take him. But yeah, that is kind of the story of how we got Tyson from Cats Protection. He was in there with his brother Max, and we did have a look at both of them, but kind of decided that Tyson was who we wanted to go with. I mean, here I'm just sort of shaping up the white area on his face to make sure that's all in there, and that some of the line work's kind of hidden behind other lines, so we've not got any gaps. See, I've kind of tried to retrace the path of the other lines here. Yes, just so much fiddling. Yeah, it takes a long while for me to kind of get it to a place where I was happy with it. I think Tyson must have taken the longest to do. It took a while to do. It does take a while to do my face as well, but there's just so many more different colours and different things that you have to think about in a cat's face, with all the patternings and the beautiful markings, just trying to get them right. And I did change the sort of the shape of the pupils a little bit as well, because they're not usually as rounded as I had made them. They usually have a little bit of a point on them, so I just wanted to change that. And then just going around and filling up the insides of the ears. You can see just how many points I end up with because of my kind of shaky handwork when I'm trying to use a pen. when I'm doing lines, and this just makes everything so much smoother. So this was the end of the first part of the digital making of my profile picture, and I hope you enjoyed it. Had a little bit of a chat about things in general and just kind of how we got Tyson, as well as a few things about this program and just how easy it was to pick up. I cannot stress that enough, because I've tried to use Illustrator before and it's taken me a lot longer to get used to than this has. So I'm really quite impressed with that. But yes, I will continue this on the next video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.